Welcome, everyone, to the coolest, greatest, sexiest podcast on the internet.
I was wondering how many adjectives you're going to put in that.
Amazing, fragrant,
You ran out.
fragrant.
Just
Smells good. Did you guys use Axe body spray in middle school? Did you spray that around?
Absolutely.
That, for some reason, that was the thing. It's like, oh, I'm getting all the girls, and we just all doused ourselves in that.
I don't think I ever thought I'd get all the girls. I just thought like I smelled good, so I just put it on.
I didn't have Axe, but I had some other like spray stuff that I thought smelled good. Axe I didn't like, but a lot of boys in our middle school they were just drenched in it, but they were not drenched in girls. I don't know what happened. I didn't know why that wouldn't work, but
like middle school and high school gym, like in that locker room, it just smelled like Axe and ass.
It just was, yeah. They were just always spraying a ton of aftershave and
spraying Axe and ripping butt. That's what was happening in those.
Yeah,
disgusting.
But we don't.
Those are not as popular now. Like the aerosol can.
No.
That was like a very specific, like,
you 2004
to 2009.
People wash their bodies, I feel like, more. I don't know why, but I just found out.
Yeah, people wouldn't. That's what it was, Jacob. The people that sprayed that the most never took showers, and they thought that was. But that's like spraying perfume on a corpse, is what it was.
Yeah.
So
that's what it was.
I mean, it's a bad concoction.
You would get
I found out
booty and Axe.
Some of my friends, they said white people smell like milk, and I was like, huh, never thought about that. And then I thought about it, and I was like,
that's what the Axe was for, to get the milk.
Well, they said white people never wash their body.
I do.
I mean, I'm just saying. Like, to me, I thought that was hilarious. I was like, I don't know, because like I remember growing up, and I used to think like you just wash your body and the soap washed down and washed my legs, and then I got older and realized, dude, you gotta wash your whole freaking body, you disgusting weirdo.
Wait, like you didn't wash your whole body?
No, I was lazy.
For how long?
I don't know. So I
take back the fragrant. I take back the fragrant.
You gotta wash that butt, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you all gonna agree with me and then back out on me.
Well, I didn't know what I was agreeing to. This was like a change of terms. I was saying
definition of change. We scrolled down a little bit.
I thought you meant in society people started washing their bodies more, not we personally started washing our bodies more.
I don't. Okay, right on. Nonetheless, don't say yes to everything. That's the moral of the story, I guess.
Don't know what you don't agree to.
Yeah, we don't know anything we agree to.
But you know, we might smell a little bit. I will say that, but we are the greatest podcast on the internet.
There it is.
So welcome. I'm joined by Travis.
Yeah, you're planting the flag there. We're the greatest podcast on the internet.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's out. I mean, he's getting kicked off. People are leaving the platform. They just don't like him that much. But they are coming onto YouTube to join the same platform we are. I don't know what's going on. But Travis is here.
Hello.
Jacob.
What's going on, guys?
He has learned to wash himself, so that's good. And me. Just me.
You say it so like half-heartedly, but
I used to love one of my favorite jokes in early YouTube when people would make movie maker videos. It would just like say like music by Linkin Park or whatever. It would be that movie maker scroll, and then it would say made by me. It would just say me.
Maybe you should edit these like that.
So I used to do that, and like I used to make fun of that. But I am Zach. We are the DweeBros. We're gonna talk some movies, some TV shows, some games. It's been a crazy month. I think January was kind of like peeping its head out at games, but this month has been a roaring tiger that has awakened. And you know what it's kind of like? What was the freaking movie with Leonardo when he fights the bear?
Titanic.
Close. The Revenant. The Revenant.
Yeah, The Revenant.
Oh, I was like Django Unchained?
February was the month where we fought the bear. And got tore around a little bit, got a little scrapes, but we're gonna win the Oscar from it.
Oh, yeah. Like how he wins Oscars.
Yes.
Totally.
What the heck you all been playing?
I can go over a couple of the games I've been playing. I've found myself in like a nostalgia kick because, in my personal opinion, video games are absolute in the worst state ever in terms of buttness. There's nothing good out. There's never going to be anything good out this year, and we're just
they're trying to spray with Axe body spray is what you're trying.
They really are. It's really annoying. Like I would expect, you have these new gen consoles and all this crap. But I always forgot when a console comes out or any new consoles come out, the games are absolutely terrible. So that's just the state we're in right now.
He's making a statement.
You're playing the wrong games there, dog.
No, I'll talk about more when we talk about some of the games you guys are playing, because I have opinions about them, but it is what it is. So I've been playing Overwatch, trying to get back into a competitive kind of game that's like less toxic than Warzone, because Warzone's in a complete terrible state. So
now, last podcast, for those that didn't listen, you had they had banned you because
I was shadow
you weren't
banned.
even cheating.
Yeah, which that's annoying in itself, but
and then you cheated from that happening.
Now that's loose. Now that's a loose term. I didn't cheat.
You got found out by the Colonel.
Yes, the Colonel. The Colonel got me. But so I've been playing Overwatch. Good time. That game seriously is timeless. I really say that in the terms of just I can pick it up and play it, and I feel like I haven't skipped a beat. Partially because it's a shooter, and I really like shooters. I remember, Travis, there was a time when I would play shooter, and like when I was playing it, you used to give me crap because I played on controller, and you're like, just play on keyboard and mouse. I was like, I'm better on controller. Dude, now I suck at controller.
Dude, once you really make the switch, it is so hard to go back.
Oh, absolutely.
I won't play an FPS with a controller. I just won't do it.
It's near impossible. My friend Michael, he's trying to get me to play old Call of Duty Zombies, and you can only play on PlayStation, and you need a controller. And I'm playing it. I'm like, dude, I'm so bad, and I know I'm not bad. Play it like
this. Put the controller down and play it like this.
Let's see. Yeah.
What's that called? Like monkey paw.
Some people legitimately do that, dude.
Yeah, let's do that.
Like dead serious.
Play monkey paw.
Like I couldn't do that. So I've been playing Overwatch. I'm excited for Overwatch 2. It's getting ready to come out hopefully this year, so that'll be nice. And then I don't know if you guys have ever. You guys don't have Travis. You have a PC headset. You just don't use it.
PC VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Skyrim VR at all?
I bought it for the PSVR, and then I never really played it. Sam was over one day, and we messed around with it, but not a lot.
Skyrim VR is how do I put this? The laziest VR port that's probably ever came out. It's not immersive. Like you think the world of Skyrim, we've all played Skyrim for how many hours in our life? Like 200 plus, right?
Yeah.
I think we all would agree to that. So when Skyrim VR came out, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a definitive way, a new way to experience Skyrim that's going to be like way better than ever before. And of course, what ends up happening is they put out the laziest port possible for it. So you come into the game and you are just floating hands. That's terrible. Already a terrible start. You can't grab anything in the world. You can't interact with anything.
I didn't know that. That's that's the main reason I bought Oblivion when that came out.
Exactly. You want to be able to grab stuff. And you want to be able to mess with stuff in the world, NPCs, and you can't even pick up dead bodies. And
so what happens when you go up to an item?
It gives you an option. You have to hit the trigger button and you add it into your inventory.
Oh, it just automatically adds it to your
inventory. Or you can't just touch it.
That's lame.
Yeah, it's dumb.
When I messed with it a little bit, it was like, okay, this is Skyrim and it's on my head instead of but it didn't feel transformative kind of to the point.
Well, mods have really brought that game to life.
Okay.
And I've been playing, there's a couple mods where I can see my body now, which is, believe it or not, a big deal. I don't know if it matters to you, but to me, that's a big deal. It's
seeing your body is always a good thing.
Yeah, you can see your body. But now they also made it to where there's a framework. And these guys are super impressive. They made a framework where you can now interact with anything in the world. So the entire Skyrim world is now interactable. I can grab ledges, I can grab people, I can grab items, and it just completely changes the game.
That's awesome.
I love how Skyrim is saved by mods regular, and the VR version is also now saved by mods.
Yeah.
And that's just, I guess, the modding community. But you know what's else is cool? So I played Skyrim, again, a lot. They added the entire beginning of Oblivion to Skyrim.
I heard that they were doing some revamp, like remake within the.
Well, mods did this, not Skyrim. Mods did.
Yeah.
So I'm playing through Skyrim, but I'm also playing Oblivion on the Skyrim engine, and I've never played Oblivion. Never got to enter that world, let alone play it in VR, which is absolutely awesome.
You talking about how like mods are always finishing Bethesda's games? Microsoft, that was the smartest purchase of the century because they know that we're just going to finish the games for them.
Yeah.
That is such a discount. They saw that and they were like, we have to buy them because people will just make the games for us.
80% of the game, and then you get to sell it.
Yeah, the people are buying a chance to finish the game. It's pretty cool.
I want to step back, Jacob. You mentioned Oblivion. I really like the world of Oblivion much, much, much better than Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim is very everything looks
one-dimensional.
The same. Everything looks the same. It's all pine trees and rocks and pine trees and rocks.
There wasn't enough. Yeah.
There's no biome diversity. Every cave is kind of the same. Whereas Oblivion is like lush. It looks more like Minas Tirith, like something out of Lord of the Rings, and it just has a lot more character, I feel like. Morrowind has the most, but that's a different subject.
I really like this game because the way it is right now is they made it to where your character selection's bigger. So, like, I'm a mage, and I like being a mage. And so, the mod I downloaded allows me to only focus on mage stuff. I can do, like, weapons and junk, but I'm never going to be proficient in them. And, like, I also downloaded a mod where I can do any spell based on just how I wave my hand. So there's certain motions I have to make on my hand in order to do the spells I want to do, which makes it 20 times more immersive than what it's ever been. So I've been spending a lot of time playing Skyrim VR, and I've been playing a lot of Overwatch lately. A lot of Overwatch.
How are you, because you are like the VR king, how are you finding out about these different, like when those mods come out, like is there a place like how are you finding out all of this?
Nexus Mods is like the main channel for it. I don't know if you guys have ever done a modding like without special edition, because when special edition came out, like they kind of brought internal mods in, and that like is no longer a thing. Like it's still a thing, but Nexus is the way to do it on PC. And they have a client. Yeah, they have a client. You can do it for Fallout. They can do it for Dragon Age. A lot of different games.
They got Witcher. They've got Cyberpunk. Yep. Just go look up nexusmods.com.
So you're just on there and kind of seeing what's going on in the VR stuff.
Yep.
Mostly. Cool.
Yep, you got it. I go on there, see what's trending, see what's new. That's how I got all my Blades and Sorcery mods. Like I was playing Star Wars and stuff with the youngins, all through Nexus.
Young ones. They killed the
the younglings.
Highly recommend it.
Cool.
So that's pretty much all I've been playing.
It's pretty fun.
I think last month I played 0 games. I felt like I didn't play nothing. This month I packed it in. It's been snowing. It was snowing this month. And I said, it is video game month. I'm trapped inside. So I will start with Catherine. Catherine's a game from 2011, is made by Atlas. It's a puzzle game. I know Travis has maybe seen some of this, but
yeah, I'm not a puzzle person.
So it's what you do is you're trying to climb. The whole story is about this guy who it's a hilarious premise that, and this is all I knew about it going in was. He is engaged, I think he's engaged to this girl. Her name is Catherine with a K. This other girl, he like gets drunk at this bar and goes home, wakes up to this other girl. Her name is Catherine with a Q. So there is like, he's cheating and this girl keeps showing up and it's like, but you're Catherine. I mean, wait, Catherine, like he'll call and just get confused because they're both the same name of this girl. But in between that, he'll go to sleep at night and have these nightmares, and he has to climb up of these falling blocks. These blocks are falling. So what you have to do is you have to guide him in like 3D and like pull these blocks out, and there's all these different rules to like pulling this block out, and different blocks do different things. Come to find out, you like come out of the dream and you end up in this bar area with his friends and stuff, and you can talk to people. You find out everyone else, only men are having the same dream, where they're falling and they have to climb out. Then they find out that some people are dying. Some of the men start dying. If they die in this nightmare, they're dying in the real world. This is everything. I liked Persona 5 a ton. And I don't know if I talked about it last podcast where I just quit on that game. because I still had like 80 hours to go, and I felt like it was a slog at a certain point. But still amazing, like interacting with the people and going to school in the game, whatever. This, I think, condenses down the experience of Persona 5 and has an amazing gameplay loop. You're doing these fun puzzles, you're running up, you're trying to find out like the best way to do this. It's not too like terribly hard. You can choose like an auto thing, like, hey, I got up to like the 3/4 of the way and I died. You can hit like auto whatever, and it will take you back to where you were, and you can just continue on if you choose to do that. The gameplay loop is perfect. This game is like 12 hours, if that. It took me, I think, 12 or 13 hours to beat it. But I had an amazing time when I beat that game. I wish I would have played it sooner. It was just the perfect blend of Persona 5 and talking with people, and it felt like Twin Peaks at times, talking with certain people in the bar and these weird things, and very funny.
That game, I see it sometimes for either awesome games done quick or it's like competitive. Is there like a multiplayer mode? I see
there's a multiplayer mode.
I see streamers playing it all the time, and they'll play it at like conventions. Like it's got a cult following.
There is a thing called Babel mode, and it like you're trying to get as high as you can, like make the tower, like get as far as you can. There's a multiplayer. There's a co-op. Like I could have you guys jump in, and then like we could build together and try to get us both to the top.
That's cool.
So there's a ton of it. It kind of reminds me of like Bloodborne when we have those chalice dungeons. Like there's tons of stuff extra you can get into.
It's funny you said. I think was the game Myst you guys were playing? Who was playing Myst in here? Was it Travis?
Myst is a adventure game.
That's
I thought it was a puzzle game.
That's point and click.
Well, they did Myst, but they put it in VR. They ported it to VR.
Oh, did they? Really?
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I haven't checked it out. I just saw. I ran across it. I was like, who played that? I couldn't remember who did, and I guess it was you.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
That's a fun like adventure game.
Yeah, but Catherine, breath of fresh air after quitting Persona 5 because it was too freaking long. I hope the next Persona is 60 hours. Let's try that.
It probably won't be.
Probably gonna be 120 more.
I will say also, if you ever want to get into Persona again, I see a lot of people say after time has passed that 4 is much better than 5, and it's shorter than 5. So
yeah, maybe I go back to that. We'll see. But loved Catherine. I think that was like nearly like I think it's kind of a perfect game. It was really good.
Wow.
Yeah. I played a game that Travis loves.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We did a stream, or not a stream, hangout. Me, Matt, and Pierce. We did Hitman. So we played. I just did I was still in the first level of Hitman 1. I just went straight into
Paris,
that.
Right?
Yeah, the Paris thing. This game for me. Well, let me just tell like. There's different. You've explained it before of like you have 2 targets or 1 target. I don't know if it like changes per level, but I had 2 targets at the beginning thing, and it can take a while. Like you have to figure out what's the best way. Do I poison the drink of this person? Do I follow them around? Do I listen to this conversation to do all this? It is excellently designed. It is a masterclass of design because you can do 8 billion ways to take out the target. While streaming this, I found out that this is just not my type of game at all, remotely. And I was battling with myself. I was like, why don't I like this? Because I like Metal Gear. Whereas I think Metal Gear 5, why I love that is, okay, I see a base, I see whatever, and I'm in it. Like I'm sneaking around, I'm crawling, I'm actively moving to this. Hitman, I have to like follow and I'm waiting forever. And then I have to go listen to this conversation. And then I got to run back over here and go to this conversation. Okay, now I can go all the way down. I was ready just to get the kill. I don't know. And it just wasn't, I don't know if my ADHD or something was going wrong where I just was.
You don't like the build up.
Yeah, but the design I appreciated and all that they were doing is really good. That's just not my type of game. Like
and that may be,
I didn't have the patience for it.
Yeah, I will say it's not a great game to stream because a lot of that game is like soaking up where you are, and trying to use
Yeah.
context clues. And when you're streaming and you're talking and you're entertaining each other, you're missing. NPCs are constantly talking in that game
Yeah.
and dropping hints about where things might be. So it's like, but to me, like, I get that it's a social stealth game.
Yeah.
It's not
I
like you're
didn't have
crawling
fun
in the
on the catwalk.
bushes.
I
Yeah,
had fun
yeah.
on the catwalk. There
And
was
like-
like funny moments like that. It's like, this is good.
Yeah, and each level has really cool stuff that's unique in that. Like there's one where it's like this trust fund kid that like his dad is like, or his mom is like in the Illuminati, and like he's having a bachelor party in this like hotel in Bangkok. It's a smaller level, and like you're trying to figure out, how do I kill this kid? Like he's like 25, and he's like having a birthday party, and you can actually become the drummer in his band is this big tall bald guy with glasses and like a top hat, and you can become his drummer, and like you have to drum, and like it's a social stealth game. So like you have to be down for, oh, I'm gonna be the cook, and then like you're pretending to be the cook, or I'm gonna be. It lets you take on all these roles, and you got to be a little patient. But to me, like it's a game that has 6 levels. In any one of the 6 levels, you can beat it in 30 to 40 minutes. So the game could be 6 hours long, 5 hours long. And the fun is, oh, I want to try that. And, oh, they mentioned this. I want to try that. And that makes sense. You're more linear. It seems like you like more beginning to end sequence. Also, it's not, it's just a little, it's a little bit more enjoy the scenery maybe than you're looking for.
I did like that you could save, and I was trying some Wacko Jacko stuff, and that was very fun. Yeah. I just didn't know if I could continue with it, but it was really cool. And
they ported that game to VR too. I know I'm talking a lot about VR, but they did. I'm telling
You're
you,
like the VR expert. You let us know the VR.
Let me make you a recommendation. Did you get the kill on Paris?
Yes.
Okay. My only thing I would say, because you've already got it, did you uninstall it yet?
No, it's still installed.
The only thing I would say, I think it's worth your time whenever you feel like it. Start up the second level, Sapienza.
Okay.
Because what that'll do is it'll show you the type of variety that the game has to offer, and that's a really cool level too. That starts more broad, but the second half of it is like secret agent infiltrating an underground base. So.
I will try that. I will say you were probably right that with the stream and a lot of stuff going on, maybe it was.
But it doesn't. But it also might not be for you. Like
it's not.
Let me try the second level, and I'll get back to you guys. Yeah. But I beat that level, and I said, let me do one more level, and it was getting late in the stream, and I said, but I'm gonna treat it like a Call of Duty game, and I went in. And I found a room and found a shotgun, and people kept coming in, boom! And then I would hide in the locker, and they would go, "Where did he go?" And they would just turn their back, and I popped. There was 40 bodies in that room, and then I ran, there was somebody laying. It was the Japanese level place, Asian level place, and there was somebody laying on a surgery table. I was trying to find the kill, and I did the scan. I was like, he's right in front of me. Just lit him up with a shotgun. Ran out of there. I did the worst infiltration, and I won. I did it in like 2 minutes.
Well, I ended up having a lot of fun with that. Is you can see it's got leaderboards, and you can go. Yeah. People make their own missions. Like there's people like. This is horrible, but it's like kill Hillary Clinton, and she's like in like a penthouse, and like you like show a card, and then you go up, and it's like how fast can you go? And some of these speed run of these custom missions are like, hey, they did it in 19 seconds, and I do it, and it's like, okay, I did it in 23. I think I could get it, and like I sat one night for like an hour trying to get, and I got within a second of the fastest. Like I think some of that arcade mode stuff is really really fun too. And it's shorter form.
People can make their own levels or make their own missions within the levels.
Yeah, they can
make their own missions within the levels. And I don't know if Hitman 3 also includes some make your own level stuff, but go look at. Did you not look at any of the like custom scenarios?
No.
Oh my God, that's what you want to do on a stream.
Okay,
dude, that's the funniest stuff. One like I had one was like kill the bum, and there's like, and they set up a story. It's like you've been evicted from your apartment. There's a bum in the top floor. Go kill him. And I got up there, and he was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, and they had him like acting drunk, and like, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I will say, Jacob. Hitman is very much your kind of game.
I think that sound like more Jacob stuff.
You like sitting in the sandbox and messing around, and like when I did the Paris mission, Jess hung out with me one time, and I played through it, and like I was trying to do it fast, and like these people saw me, and I jumped up, and I was like, everybody on the ground, and I start shooting up in the air, and everybody's running away, and it was just like so much fun.
I have played every Hitman since Blood Money came out, except for I did not play 2.
Oh.
But yeah, I've played Hitman.
You played Hitman 3?
Yeah. No, I haven't played this one. I've played everyone but 2. I haven't played the new one. I think I want to play it, but I want to get it for VR. I only want to play it in VR.
Did you play Hitman 2016?
Yes, I have that.
Oh, I didn't know you played that game.
Yeah, I have it on Steam. Because that was the one where they introduced like a bunch of new, like not new features, but like a new skin, new engine. Everything looked different. In my opinion, Blood Money is my favorite one, but that one I think is more for nostalgia reasons.
I played Blood Money with a friend that came over a little bit when I was younger and had fun with it.
Yeah, dude, there's a level in Blood Money where you're in a neighborhood and you can go in any house and just kill whoever you want. And I'll never forget, I walk in, as a young kid, there's a mom, she's like talking to her kids, like lunch is about to be ready, and I just walk in and strangle her, and I was like, what's wrong with me? like I just did this. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that game's funny.
Hitman 2 has a level that's in a neighborhood also, Whittleton Creek. It's cool.
No, that makes sense then.
What that game does to me, and I will get off of Hitman after that, every level across all 3 games is a very unique setting, and it makes you, when you start going on trips, like I went on a trip after I played a bunch of Hitman, and I was like, this would make a great Hitman level. Like I was at like this lake town with my wife in like Atlanta. It was on a lake, and there's a golf course, and there's like all these houses surrounding a lake. I was like, this would make a great Hitman level. Because
you turned your wife and said, this would be perfect to kill people.
Because because it's just like they always have. There's like a bank level in Hitman 2. You saw like there's like a secret society like medical clinic that's up in the mountains in Japan. Yeah. That's a cool level. They just have really cool locales. So yeah.
Cool. One more thing before we get stuff that I think we both, well, you haven't played one of the other ones, but Sea of Thieves did a hangout for Sea of Thieves as well.
Now that game I have heard a lot of good things about.
So on the outside looking in, I was mixed on this. I was like, I don't know if I'm into a pirate multiplayer game, whatever. But it's on Game Pass. Anything Game Pass, we've just been eating up. So Pierce joined me for that. And that game, I think, Travis, you would actually really love this game a lot. This is your game. They made this game for you because you have to like pull up a map. Somebody has to be down to like see the map in the bottom of the ship. And they're like calling out like, oh, go left, or like turn the cells, go this way, or whatever else. And but it's very like you have to like explore and do.
I think us 3 on it could be hilarious.
Yes, we had an amazing time, just me and Pierce. But we did say it was like you need a 4-person thing to make this fun, because we did run into like a part where like it became the exploration stuff. We got kind of lost. And our friend Danny was supposed to, he always like streams this game, and he was supposed to come on, he wasn't able to. I think we would have had a little bit more fun because we got stuck. These ghosts kept killing us, and we kept killing them, and they kept infinitely respawning. We were having like not a good time at the end, but wrecking our ship accidentally, or we'd both be in the base of the ship and we'd be going, or someone would be up the top, and I was like, are you turning? Because we're heading right towards the rocks. We hit the rocks, and you'd have, the water would come up in the bottom of the ship. And you'd have to take wood and Minecraft style put it on all the holes. So we kept destroying our ship all the time.
Oh my gosh. I'll play that.
You have to get a bucket of water. People have to get buckets of water.
I have it, Travis. I think we would have, because you can play it with other people, and then like you can have them board you and stuff. And it can get really funny if you're into like that role play mentality.
Yeah. So I was really taken back by this game, and I do want to play it again.
Nice.
I think it just creates these wacko moments, especially if you can get 4 people on it. I think that's the way you're supposed to play it. So
yeah, I got a couple games that I played. I played some more Returnal. I was just kind of wanting to play something before. We've had a lot of games released this last week, and there was like a dead week where my Bengals lost the Super Bowl, and then there was no games I was playing, and like Horizon and Elden Ring and Destiny weren't out yet, and I was like, man, like I just want something to play right now, just to kind of have something to do. So I picked Returnal back up, and I finished the second biome, which was kind of where I was stuck. And I think that the way I'm going to approach that game is I'm going to pick it up every once in a while when I don't really have anything else to play and do the biome I'm on, and then One day I'll beat it. So I like that game. We talked about it last week. We talked a lot about a bunch of roguelikes last week. I like that game a lot. And I like the bosses. Just kind of, I think that one criticism I have of it is in Hades, something I liked was you really could make unique builds every time you played the game. Like I could make a build in Hades with the hand or with the shield, and then when it hits the shield, hits people, it inflicts doom on them, which is a delayed damage effect. And then every time doom triggers, it gives me a buff. Like I could pick power-ups as I went through and be like, oh, this one will work with this, and then oh, this, and then you get to the end and it's like, okay, if I win or lose, I will never have a character again that plays like this. And that's cool to me. Like that's fun. Returnal, it does not feel that way. The only thing that changes is your gun, and the upgrades you can get are just flat. It's just like you do 10% more damage. You have, 10% more oblites drop when you kill someone, or they disappear 1 second slower or faster. Like it's not like you have a different element that you can use, and then that will trigger pools on the ground that you can grab. And I know it's a 3D game, so that kind of stuff's harder, and that's not the goal of Returnal, but that is where some of those other roguelikes, they have that mechanical stuff that not everybody's into. Like, Zach, I know you're not super into that, but that's what makes those games fun to replay. Is it's going to be different. It's going to be, you can really chew your teeth on how these different things interact, whereas Returnal, it's just an action game. If I get a certain power up in Returnal on one run and I never get it again, okay, like I'll have something else. Like you're just getting a little bit stronger, but it's not uniquely stronger. It's just like, I don't know. So that's the one thing that makes it not as palatable, I think, to like, I'm going to sit here all day and play Returnal, because it's just like, I don't know. You get tired of just kind of, oh, I died with the pistol this time instead of the carbine, like whatever. Like, I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at with Returnal.
Real quick, Travis, can you turn your volume? It's fine on my end, but you're kind of peaking. Like I can keep the volume, but it sounds like you're peaking a little bit. Like it's kind of like peaking.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
I could just hear it kind of like rumbling, like peaking a little bit. So
okay.
But yeah. I want to check that game out again, and I did. The gameplay is amazing. It's just I wish it would have almost just been a third-person action game. Like, that would have been really fun. The gameplay is really fun. So
if it had been like almost, you could have made it like a Souls-like. Like it's an interconnected little world. You go to these little dungeons, the biomes, and it's all kind of interconnected. Honestly, you could take that game and restructure it as a Souls-like with the way you use the power-ups, like the grappling hook, to get to this place or that place faster. It is a roguelike though, so that's what they chose to make. It's good. I do think it's a good game. I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't like get me out of bed in the morning in terms of like wanting to keep sticking with it for long periods of time. Yeah. Other game I'm playing is Destiny released a new expansion, The Witch Queen, and I'm almost done with the campaign of that right now. This was very hyped as their most ambitious campaign yet! ! And it's good. I would say of the campaigns that they've done, this is the first one. So one cool thing they did was they launched it with a legendary mode, so it's actually challenging. The other Destiny campaigns were always very easy, and it doesn't actually get hard till you get to the raid. So this was better because there's a legendary mode, and that's how I'm playing it with a buddy. And so it feels like Halo Legendary. It is very hard. It's still a loot-based game, so it's not exactly like Halo. Like you pick your guns, but it's been good. I also will say they added some light like mechanics to the bosses. So you guys have both done a raid before, so you know the difference between like boring Destiny where you just like kill a guy, and then like raids where there's very complex things you have to discover and rules you have to follow. This campaign has like, it finds a middle ground where like you're not just killing people. Like there'll be a puzzle you have to solve, and then there will be some mechanics around a boss, but they're not so complex that like you can't learn them on the fly. So I think that all has been good. I like the environment. I like the stories. Whatever. I mean, it's if you're really into Destiny lore, there's cool stuff happening. If you're coming, don't buy this game thinking every time Destiny releases a new expansion.
I thought it was free to play.
It's free to download and play the multiplayer and run through strikes, but the new expansion is $60.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it's not free to play in terms of the new stuff. I will say I was out on this. I was not going to buy this, but I have a team every year they release a new raid, and they do like day one raid competitions where they basically set something called contest mode and they turn it on. Contest mode kind of basically sets a cap to how much your level can affect your play. And so it makes the game very hard. It's like a universal legendary mode basically. And every year they have like a time from like 24 hours from when it releases. Everybody who beats it gets a thing, whatever it is. Like they give you a sweatshirt, they give out different things. So I got a group of people that I'll play raids with a lot, and I've done the last 2 years day one raids, and they were like, "Hey, we need you. Can you come do this?" I was like, "Yeah." So I'm having fun with it, but I don't know. I'm ready to finish the campaign and do the raid and see what that's all about. Yeah, I like Destiny, but those games are every time it's just like there's a million things that they want you to do. There are a million secondary missions and guns to go get and upgrade, and I'm just kind of past those types of super grindy games. I'll play up until where I do the raid, and then I'm good, I think. So that's Destiny, though. If you like Destiny, you're probably already playing that, and if you don't like Destiny, I don't think this is a good time to get into the game. So
I think that's the one constant about this podcast is Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
from the very first episode, you could probably hear us talk about Destiny.
I mean, it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely not like it's not terrible. I definitely will say that. It has its stay. It has done what it wanted to do, and it has a staying power.
It's a really good game,
and now Sony owns them.
Yeah, that's worth talking about. That's some news. So
yeah.
Sony bought Bungie.
Yeah.
Sony bought Bungie.
You know, remember how we were talking about Sony doesn't have capital to buy things, and they turn around and buy Bungie, which Bungie's not a giant company, but like
they don't have capital to go buy publishers.
I don't. Oh, you mean like Okay, I'm picking up point down.
But they could buy developers. Like Bungie's just a developer. They're
but independent. They could publish their own games. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
But that was big. That was huge news. But I was like driving and thinking about it. It was announced that day, and I was like thinking, and I put it on Twitter. I said, because Activision has the Crash Bandicoot and the Spyro license, and Bungie, of course, made Halo, and it was like,
how times changed.
If I could go back in time and say, hey, Bungie's going to be a part of Sony, and Microsoft's going to own Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, like, times change real quick.
We're in a weird world, video game world.
I think that they're a good match together because I like Sony and I like Bungie, but they both like to smell their farts. They both think their crap smells the best, and they both are kind of anti-consumer because Bungie, they vault content people paid for and bought.
Yeah.
And Sony are extremely anti-consumer.
They're going to be great villains together.
If you request a refund on PSN, they lock your account. They are notorious. They are horrible to deal with from a customer perspective. So, but I like the stuff they make. I just think that they're a good match together. And long term, I think that Sony needs more variety in their first party. That's why they bought Housemarque, I think, because say what you will about Housemarque, Returnal is way different than God of War and Horizon and all these. That's an arcadey game. That is not and so they needed that.
And overall, people liked it a lot.
Yeah, and Bungie gives them an FPS, MMO, live service game.
That's a really huge game for them. So.
Interesting
Bungie
stuff.
Anybody else get bought out? I did see when that got announced after all this freaking Microsoft stuff. I was seeing some other like big YouTubers say, there's actually bigger stuff coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, frick. Like,
I'm telling you, you're gonna see
acquired, like,
Take-Two and EA get bought.
everyone's getting bought. So
It's going to Take-Two and EA are being bought. I don't know when, but they will be bought.
I don't know if I'll like this future, but it's happening. So.
The thing that I'm the most, kind of not thrilled to see will be who's Tencent buying, who's Amazon buying, who's Google buying. Those are the ones that are like, dang. Because, like, if Google buys Take-Two.
Anyone.
Okay, that's Stadia exclusive now.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that. I'm just not, So we'll see. And my biggest fear is Nintendo getting hostile taken over by like a Tencent or something. So
that'd be wild. Imagine life.
I want to go back on Stadia because in our group chat you posted a news story.
Yeah, it still is a brand.
Stadia as the brand is over and they're keeping the technology. That's what I read. I read into it. They kept the technology.
You read incorrectly. It's still a brand. It's still up. It's still. You can go buy Stadia. I still have access to Stadia.
From what I read in the news story, unless I was wrong, that technology they're trying to do B2B, business to business kind of technology with it.
Yeah. You're wrong on two fronts. Number one, Stadia is still a brand, and I think I think time's up. Number two, if you go back, I went back and listened to that podcast. When we got down to brass tacks, I said, Stadia, the technology behind it, because your guys' concern was they would scrap the whole thing and they would not be in games anymore. And I said, that is not happening. They're way too invested, and it is a full division of media. I said, regardless of if it's still called Stadia, they will still be in the game space using this technology for streaming. But I think I've already won that bet because we said 2 years. It's been over 2 years.
I said 3. I said 3 years.
We'll go back. We'll get the receipts because it's been 3 years. But if you go to Google Stadia right now.
He's pulling up receipts, but I think that the Stadia brand is gone.
No, it's still on here.
It's on its way out. They're trying to get it out.
Is Stadia gone? Do people really care about Google? Find out next time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna go pull the receipts and we'll finish that. But
he's gonna pull the receipts. He'll figure it out. But yeah, we got some more brands. Here's where I'm at with all the purchases and now Bungie and whatever else is just. I think it's cool. Well, let me know what you think. But I have a theory, and I could be wrong. Call of Duty, that's also in the new stuff. We don't have any of this listed, but this is all big stuff that happened. Call of Duty for the first time in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Is not going to do a new Call of Duty for 2023, I think.
2023, we're not going to get a new Call of Duty. We will be getting a Call of Duty this year because we will be getting MW2.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because MW2 is going to be great. But if you ask my opinion, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To me, what I was going to say with that is the benefits of all of these developers getting under the wings of the big console people is, hey, we can support you to make really cool stuff. Now, you have the fire isn't under your butt to for these employee salaries every year that you got to pay. We can kind of help you. But where where I worry is when we just have everything is owned by either you got to go on a Nintendo or you got to go on a Sony, you got to go on a Microsoft and stuff, and they're just sucking up all these developers. It's how much is, and I think Travis mentioned this, is how much is their say going to have a power over the games are being developed, and that sucks too. But I hope maybe the Call of Duty thing was reactionary of we can take a breather for a year. We got bought out. We don't have to make it every year to support.
Call of Duty in a whole was in a really crappy space just because Warzone, which is their moneymaker, is at its lowest concurrent players it's ever been at. Which just is a sign the game is dying. Not people still play it, it's just at a very low spot. The last Call of Duty Vanguard is the lowest selling Call of Duty they've had in a long time. Which that's concerning. Call of Duty is normally one of the best selling games in the year.
The Vanguard, it already came out. That was the one from last year.
I don't know a single person that played that game.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that game.
Vanguard pooped, man. It pooped hard. So
was that World War II? Was that World War II?
What?
Was that World War II?
Yeah, which like I love World War II era stuff,
Yeah.
but it didn't hit. They rushed it, and it just was in a crappy spot. So
I'm glad they're taking a year off.
Yeah, me too.
20 years, but
I'm a Call of Duty nut, so
yeah,
I'm all about it. There's a couple of TV shows I wanted to.
Well, hold on. I had
through.
a thought on Call of Duty.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I guess I don't really. I think that their biggest problem, and I wanted to ask this to you, Jacob. They do a yearly release where they invest so much money and time into a developer working on their own game in their own setting with their own assets and their own guns on their own engine. They're not even always on the same engine. But then they've got this middle thing called Warzone that is like their Fortnite thing, right? But those two things, like running concurrently, are constantly cannibalizing each other. Aren't they? Like,
no.
Are they not?
No. So there's cross progression across both platforms. So what's really cool about Warzone was that if you don't buy Vanguard, you still have access to Vanguard weapons, and you can still level up Vanguard weapons. But if you get Vanguard, you can level up those weapons and bring them over to Warzone. It doesn't really matter. It's cross progression either way. So it doesn't really force you to buy Vanguard, but if you want to level those guns up, you got to buy Vanguard. So it's kind of like do you want to do it the grindy way, which is the free-to-play way, or do you want to spend $60, play multiplayer for a little bit, grind your guns, and then get back on Warzone?
That's why did you? I guess maybe he might be asking, but I'm asking. If Warzone has multiplayer and the Vanguard has its own multiplayer that's different than Warzone, why are you choosing Warzone over
Warzone's a battle royale.
Vanguard?
It's not a multiplayer. It's a battle royale.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, it is. So, like, if I want to play Search and Destroy, if I want to play Demolition, if I want to play Team Deathmatch, Free For All, if I want to play those game modes, that is in the strictly Call of Duty multiplayer that they offer. But to be honest with you, Warzone's on a completely different engine. Warzone was created on the engine back when in Modern Warfare came out, and it's still running the same engine, which is a good engine. Vanguard's on a whole new engine that was brought up from Treyarch, which Treyarch did a pretty crappy job with this. What was it, Treyarch? Yeah, it was in Treyarch that made Vanguard.
So that was what I was asking. So they are on different engines.
Yes.
So what I was saying is the work annually to work with a new team to integrate everything that they're doing with Warzone is a massive undertaking.
Yes.
And they're doing it again and again every year because it's always a different team. There's got to be a point where they take a step back, regardless of even getting purchased, and just say, look, we're putting in so much work to integrate a new single-player, multiplayer package in its own engine to our middle game. Why don't we just be like Fortnite and dump all of our resources into making that the best possible thing it can be, make it free, plus battle pass and skins and all that stuff. Let's put all of our focus in the middle, like in the Warzone package, and just bring different eras to Warzone. Stop developing these side games that are now failing.
Maybe that's what they do.
The issue
I think that's why they're taking a break. Like,
maybe they're gonna plug into that.
It could be. I don't know. I think let's go back though, and this is where I don't have a ton to say. The era between Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2019 was very bad.
You're gonna have to give me years because I don't know what that means.
Okay, so
that could mean 2009 to 13, or it could mean 2015 to 22. I have no idea.
2012 to 2018 was pretty rough. There was only one game that came out that was like kind of loved, which was Black Ops 3, because they had a bunch of nostalgia from Black Ops 1. A lot of those games, that's when Sledgehammer Games got introduced, which Sledgehammer Games is the one who made Vanguard. Sledgehammer Games made literally the worst possible Call of Duties out of all of them. Advanced Warfare, terrible. Modern WW2 was awful. They made Vanguard, it was awful. So, but they got introduced to the mix.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's terrible. Typically, the two you want making games is Treyarch and Infinity Ward. Now, when 2019 came out, Infinity Ward made that, and they made it like completely from the ground up. They had 3 years to work on it, and it was good. It was a really good game. And then they turned around and said, "Hey, here's Warzone. Warzone ran off the same engine. It was completely 1-in-1, but Raven Software kept up with the management of Warzone. Infinity Ward took a step back and started working on their next title for Call of Duty, which was going to come out in 2022. Raven Software manages Warzone. The battle passes, the integration of weapons, the bugs, the updates, all of it is managed by Raven Software. Raven Software is never, ever, ever published a Call of Duty game. Ever. They are managing
Call of Duty games.
They have the only one they had a hand on was the remaster of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The only one. That was the remastered version of it. So it wasn't even like the original. They have never ever done anything past that. So this is Raven Software's first like hands-on thing, and they've done okay. There's been times when it's like really questionable decisions. So let's take a step back and then I look at Black Ops Cold War. Black Ops Cold War comes out. Treyarch takes over. It's like, it's meh. It's like, okay, it's not amazing. It's Black Ops. Some people really love Black Ops. Some people can't stand Black Ops. I love Black Ops. I love how fast-paced it is. I love how quick it is. I love the weapons. I love that era. It's all good. So when Treyarch makes that game, they then take that stuff and say, hey, Raven, here's everything we introduced in the Cold War. Put it in Warzone now. And then Sledgehammer puts it into Warzone. And then Raven puts it into Warzone. Yeah. And then Vanguard does the same thing. Now, they're saying, no, we're moving on. Infinity Ward is going to manage this new Call of Duty, and they're also going to release Warzone 2, and they're going to manage it for the next 2 years. And then Treyarch will release its Black Ops title or whatever game they're working on after the Modern Warfare sequel in 2023 or in 2024, not 2023.
Yeah.
So it's good.
They're gonna have a lot of time.
It's good. We're gonna get a break. And Treyarch, man, I don't know if you guys grew. I don't. Black Ops 2 was just masterpieces. Like you're talking top tier games.
I was Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Those are my two.
Yeah, Modern Warfare was great. Like they remastered it. A great game. I have no issues. They need a break. But honestly, a lot of games need a break. Like I think honestly, Horizon. The reason I made that joke about Horizon earlier is I think open world exploration kind of crap is. I'm kind of sick of it. It's kind of too much right now. It's happening too much. There's no good linear stories right now. And when I mean linear, I mean like you're just walking from place to place and you're experiencing a story and it's good and thought and written out. Everyone's trying to do this. Everyone's trying to do this open world stuff. And I'm like, why? Why is everything going to be so... And I feel like Horizon, like, it looks like... Everything I've watched, it looks like the first game again. It just looks like the first game again. And Zach and Travis, you'll tell me yes or no, but that's what it looks like to me. And then Elden Ring drops, and Elden Ring's like this next Souls coming, next genre. All this is like open world-esque, right?
It is open world.
It's more like Breath of the Wild. I'm hearing then
who cares? Like I just don't. The open world stuff. It needs to die. It needs to go away. It's become its own little battle royale bull crap, and now everyone's latching onto it and it's just trying to make money off of it. And it's just making.
You get that terrible. Because every major thing like Zelda and now the Souls games, like everyone's getting their open world spin.
Pokemon just did
old gameplay. Metal Gear, like everything had their open world kind of day for. The last feels like 10 years or so, but I get that.
I think games are just in a weird, like, how do I put this? Games and TV shows are in a weird creative spot where nothing's good. Everyone's rehashing
you're nuts
crap.
On the TV shows. I'll give you the open world, but I'll kill you for the TV shows.
What new TV shows doesn't feel like a rehash of something else?
Oh, Leftovers.
But that's not new.
It ended in 2017. Can't that be new?
It's a weird rehash of Lost.
That's not new. My point is, we are in a weird movies too. You can look at movies. We're in a weird spot.
The Walking Dead. I don't think you've ever heard of that.
Oh, shut up! You're freaking take your zombies and shove it in your butt.
You're kind of speaking to this idea that mainstream entertainment releases are stagnating.
Yeah, it's awful right now.
Yeah, I would just say if you looked back at any point in time, go back to the mid-'80s, right? We look back at the mid-'80s and think, man, Terminator was awesome. Man, Die Hard was awesome. Whatever, pick the movie. RoboCop was awesome. So when we have the privilege of time filtering out all the junk that we don't care about. But if you go back and you look up what movies came out today 30 years ago, you might see a movie you might see a movie you love, but the other 9, 10, 11 movies that came out this time 30 years ago are going to be garbage you never heard of. And because that's how it always is. There's always a saturation, and then you're trying to filter through all the noise of what's happening right now and say, what are the gems? What are the things that will be remembered 20 years from now, 30 years from now? And so, yeah, that's just part of it. There's a lot of TV that sucks. There's probably a few shows on right now that are really good, and there's probably one from this era of 2 or 3 years that's going to be remembered 30 years from now. You could do that with music. You could do it with movies. You could do it with games. And I agree with you. Obviously, battle royales are extremely saturated. Yeah, open world games are. I will just say I think there's a little bit of a deviation right now, and Breath of the Wild I felt like was one of the only ones on that branch of this is actually open. Like, you actually can progress the story, go in any direction. Horizon isn't really that at all. It's the old formula. So like Breath of the Wild is a different thing to me, and I think Elden Ring, I'm not playing it yet, it looks like it's in that vein. So I don't know, I'm not going to argue with you too much, but like I think that those are exciting to me, but I am with you in terms of the checklist. Open up your quest log, it's 19 different things you got to go do in this specific order, and it's open, but basically it's just like really big levels with a lot of busy work. I don't touch that kind of stuff now. But I would just say, Jake, if you lived in any point in time, there's always a saturation of something that seems really overdone.
Oh, absolutely. I can go back.
Kind of.
I can go back and look and remember when there was 3 different sports games for the same sport being made, and the number of shooters that came on when racing games. When you had anything from NASCAR to Midnight Club to Need for Speed to Burnout. Like, I can tell you, like, times when like there was major saturation. The issue I'm having is like, it's just everything's boring. Like, there's nothing. I think maybe that's why I cling to VR so much, because it's new and it's exciting and everything's different.
I feel that way with VR too. Like, I feel like when I'm on VR, I'm like, this is a new paradigm, and even bad stuff I'm having fun with in VR.
Yeah, it's because it's goofy and it's weird, but I'm not. I don't know.
I get
Gaming
that. Just be in VR, dude. Stay in VR.
Yeah, but I can't sit in VR.
Stay in the metaverse, dude.
Yeah, stay in the metaverse. With all that being said, I think we can jump to some TV shows. Attack on Titan.
What about freaking her? We haven't even talked
about these games yet.
We've got 2 big things to talk about.
I've spent 25 hours playing Horizon Forbidden West, and the only thing we said about it was you don't like it and you didn't play it.
Yeah, that's all it needs to be talked about.
So let us talk about it.
Fine, go ahead.
What the hell?
Whatever, go ahead. My bad.
Horizon came out. Forbidden West. Take it away, Travis. This seems like I'll just say that my first thing, I get on Twitter. I haven't played the game more than 10 minutes. Travis has played more than me at this point, and I see it takes 6 to 8 hours to feel like whatever, and I'm like, God Almighty, what in the world?
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I tweeted that, and I was like, I wonder if people like Zach will see this, and it'll taint. And I was like, this is how I'm feeling. I'm gonna tweet, and it's a free country.
No, you saved me a lot of time.
It's a free country.
Here's the deal with Horizon. Like, I've really had an up and down like roller coaster. I actually took a night. I played this game. I got it Friday night this past weekend. I played it a lot Friday. I played it all day Saturday, and I played it probably 5 or 6 hours Sunday. So I got 20, 21, 22 hours into it. And at the end of that weekend, I had to sit down, and I never do this. I had to write like a forum post about where I'm at on this. And and it came out so negative, but then I was like, I didn't feel that negative all weekend, but like, and then I went and I finished the thing I was on, and it ended up kind of shifting back to a little bit to positive. So here's where I'm at with Horizon. It is the same as Horizon 1 in that we always said Horizon 1, Horizon Zero Dawn, it was coming out when all those open world Ubisoft, Assassin's Creeds were out, but it was like, okay, it is one of those through and through, but it's kind of a good one of those. Like, You've got a story quest you're following. You've got some side quests. You've got some errands and busy work you can do. But what saved it was fighting the big robots.
Fighting the robotic dinosaur.
And I think that the sci-fi twists and turns of that story really satisfied me as somebody that likes science fiction. And I thought that the tribal elements were kind of interesting, of like they're trying to deal with, they don't know what happened in the past, and Aloy knows a little bit more, but they don't understand. She can't make them understand. So I liked Horizon 1 quite a bit, and I wasn't really super hyped for this one, but I thought it looked cool. I thought it looked like a good refinement, and I thought the environment of like going out west and going to the beach and fighting on the shore and doing all that stuff looked awesome. So I was like, I'm down for the setting. I'm down for another run in this world. I'm excited. Buying this game and getting it started, I immediately, like as soon as I started, had like a what is happening? It throws you into like basically
a PS3 game.
A PS.
It feels like that type of gameplay for 2 hours.
Yeah,
2 hours.
Like it throws you into this kind of intro mission with this guy I don't remember from the first one, but I think he was in the first one, and it's extremely, extremely, extremely linear. Which, okay, whatever. But like, it just kind of keeps going and going and going. And it's I don't understand. We're trying to find a backup of something, and that's fine. But they keep saying we need it because of this thing that just happened with this thing. And I was like, what are they referencing? And I finally had to look it up. They're referencing the end of the first game.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember that. But it just like, it kept going and going and going. And then you get back to this big city that the first game ended at. And you are talking to all these people, and they have dialogue wheels with like 6 options, and they all like are being passive aggressive at you because you left. And it's just like, you ever have a friend that's like, we never hang out, and it's like, I'm hanging out with you right now, dude. Like, that's how every NPC in this game was. For the first 4 or 5 hours, they're like, you left and you never hang out with me. And Aloy is just like, I have stuff to do. Like, I'm saving the world. I'm doing stuff. And so just the characters were putting me off. Every person I talked to, it was like, this isn't what I thought this was going to be. I wanted to go out west. This is the same world as the first game. I don't remember anybody, but they're all talking to me like I did something wrong, and I'm doing busy work, and I'm trying to look stuff up about what happened in the last game. It just felt like the worst way to start a sequel.
Yes.
It was the worst way to start a sequel, and I liked the first one. I thought it was a really awful opening, and it does the same thing in Horizon 1 where it spills you into like this kind of starter area. And that's pretty common. Like The Witcher 3 does that too. But that starter area, it just went so slow. And there's this little regional conflict with this tribal guy. And Karja and Omeron, I don't remember who all these freaking people are and what makes them different. But they're all from the first one, so they assume you know. It's not until later you get out west and you meet new tribes. But so I'm kind of ranting a lot. The bottom line is it opens really bad. The second thing is, in the first game, until the end, you do not know what is actually happening. Okay? It's kind of like in the Matrix, right? You don't know you're in the Matrix. There's this mystery, right? Well, in the second game, you know who the old ones are. You know why there's robots. You know all of this. And so the tribal stuff is extremely tedious without the sci-fi mystery. And every freaking town you go to with Aloy, okay, I need this thing so that I can stop this threat, but I can't tell them that. Okay, but they believe that this robot's a god. Okay, well, how do I do this? Okay, and it's basically tribal leader has a very one-dimensional like moral. Aloy needs them to break it so that she can get something, and she does busy work until they agree to break their moral. It happens like 4 times. Like, it is so boring. I never do this. I was like reading the text and like skipping through. I was like, get me through this, get me through this.
Yeah, I was skipping.
It was bad. I never do that. I saw someone say Horizon is a beautiful game whose cutscenes I spent my time watching Elden Ring trailers on my phone while the cutscenes were on. And I hate it.
I was on my phone too, and I never do that.
I was losing. I never do that, and I didn't do it with the first one. And so all that being said, at the end of that opening area, you go down in this cauldron, and they introduce something that really left me shocked. And I was like, who are these people? What is this? And are you either of you going to play this game?
I sold it today. I returned it back today. So
it is wild. Like, these people come from space. Like, it goes, it's awesome, but it goes pure sci-fi. Like, and then you're having like Mass Effect type conversations with this AI, and so it gets a lot better. They took way too long getting there, and to me, now I'm having fun with the story because I'm interested more in the plot. But to me, this is going to end up a mixed bag. And then one other thing I have to say, they screwed up the combat system, and I don't know what they were thinking. In the first game, if you had a bow and arrow, you could use any type of element with it. You could use fire, ice, lightning, regular. Yeah. In this game, they tie the element to the bow. So you get a fire bow or a poison bow. And then if you upgrade it enough, you can get a second element on it that's random. But what happens is in the first game, you would have a bow, but you'd also have a bolt caster and a trapper and like a bomb lobber. You had all these cool weapons. In this game, if you want to have all your elements covered, you have to run 5 bows. So I only have bows because I have to have one for every element. Yeah. But they have made it to where either I have those things on my weapon wheel or I'm always going in the menu to switch them out. And it's like, this game is just overthought, over-engineered. They butchered the intro, and there's such a cool sequence later in the game. I'm bummed you won't get to it. You go like into Las Vegas. Like, you go underground to the ruins of Las Vegas. And it is amazing. It's visually amazing. It's fun. It was really cool. The back half of this game has great stuff. I would not blame anybody for checking out early, and that's where I'm at on it. So,
yeah. So I got this money. I got I'm getting this money. I got this game because I had money from like birthday. My birthday was this month, and I was like, do I get this now or do I wait on it? And I was like, listen, like, I get this money, let's enjoy it. Like, let's get this game. Let's get this game a little earlier than I would have, because I didn't want it day one. But I was like, hey, let's just have fun. This came in, and this has something to do with the story. Amazon, it was a day late, and they just raised Prime. Amazon Prime just went up in price again, and I was like, I'm going up in price, and this stuff is like being worse. The service is worse, so that's cool. But hear me out. So I get this game. I start playing it, and almost immediately, like I was saying earlier, it felt like a PS3 game. I'm sitting there, and it's like, oh, I'm doing this tutorial and stuff. Here's the thing. When Horizon came out, it came out, the first one, Breath of the Wild. So what did we do? We all, everybody compared it to Breath of the Wild, obviously.
Yeah. And I felt bad for it.
It was immediately dated. But you had to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's like, hey, this was in concurrent of this game. There's no way they could whatever. But the next one will know, and this one does not. It feels like it was made in a world that Breath of the Wild never existed. I don't want it to be a game where I'm climbing on everything like Breath of the Wild, but at least be aware.
It's so unaware of.
It's so unaware.
If they were smart, they would have started this game in the middle of a big region and let you go explore it. I mean, they have the biomes. The biomes are there. Yeah. The climbing is so bad in this game.
Yeah.
It's so
it feels. I was accidentally hitting the wrong buttons, and then it was like, it told me, it's like, oh yeah, you have to press this and this button, and that will actually drop you.
You have to press circle without pressing a direction to jump backwards, and square to do a bounce in a.
So I was going off, and I was going F this game. Like, I'm playing, and I was like falling, and then I'd have to get back on the stupid PS2 gameplay of like climbing these things. I was like, what are we doing? And I know you were farther than me, and you were like, oh, I was in 6 hours before you get to the open world. And I was like, God, I have to do this for another 6 hours. So I got to I got to see those NPCs, and then I go to, I'm talking to NPCs and stuff, but I learned quickly on, I'm discovering this. I don't remember some of the stuff from Horizon 1, but I do remember I made it all the way through the freaking game. I had that much of an enjoyable time that I finished it. Whereas at this, I'm talking to NPCs, and the NPCs are like, yeah, they're saying like, oh, you're not here, you left us. But then when Aloy is talking to the other guy that was at the beginning and stuff too, I was like, who is this guy? Why do I care about Aloy again? Like, I'm like forgetting all of this stuff. I'm like, Aloy is like has the personality of a board, of a freaking plank.
In the first game, she was very like optimistic and curious. In this game, she doesn't care about any of the people because they're all in her way. And that rubs off on me. Like, she doesn't want to be there.
I got to a part where
it's crazy.
She's like, well, one thing that didn't make sense, you get to this place and they built the statue, and she's like, you shouldn't have done that. I don't want that. But then you also get the guy, she gets there to this elevator, and he's like, see, down in the valley, there's like all these robots. I can't let you down. She was like, you're going to have to let me down. And she gets down there, and it was like, well, and then the other guy's like, oh, this is the savior. This is the hero of Meridian or whatever. And she's like, yeah, and you're going to, like, she tells the priest guy off and is like, but you don't want the statue, but you are kind of using your status. I don't like you as a character. Like,
I don't
get
know
away
what
from
happened.
me. I was like, get away from me.
I liked her a lot in the first one, and
I think the first one was a cool. They started her as an ugly child in the first one, the ugliest child I've ever seen in a video game. But you had a purpose of like, okay, you're kind of an outsider. People don't like you, but you have to do this trial. Like that stuff, I was like, okay, you're engaged. You're like, what's going on with this world? I want to learn about the robots. But once I felt like coming into this one, I was like, another thing I quickly learned was when I got to that statue place or whatever else, she's like, and I had forgot, they were like, oh, this is all the stuff from the final battle of the first game, which I forgot about. And you see it, and you talk to the guy from The Wire, Sildian or whatever, the Wire, the TV show. What's his name? Sylvian?
Yeah, Sildin. I don't know. Whatever.
But
I really
when
don't know.
he starts talking, I'm like translating in my head because she comes back down. She's like, I talked to him, and I thought we did it, but we didn't do it. We didn't kill Gaia or Hades. Hades or whatever. And immediately I went. It immediately, you should have just said, I would have loved if the game went meta and they said, we thought we beat Hades, but we had to make another game to make this a franchise. Like, that's what it felt like.
And you're right, because I had the same feeling. And that first 6 hours ultimately culminates in you finish it. And then they introduce the new bad guys. And then they introduce the new concept. And to me, it was like, this feels like an epilogue of the first game before you can start the second game. And I fundamentally hate that. Like, I think that's horrible design and storytelling. And you're onto something. And that's what I wrote in that Reset era. I wrote a really long post, and I was like, this character, she sucks in this game. Yeah. She is not, I don't know what they're trying to do. And she gets worse because you find these people come from, so it's actually really cool. So the other organization, the Jeen-Yuhs, they were traveling to another planet when Zero Dawn was going on. Okay. And you thought they died. Well, you find out they didn't die. You also find out that they came back, and they're trying to force reboot Earth and kill everybody on it so that they can come back, because when they got to that planet, it was already screwed up, and now they're coming back. So they're trying to hard reset and kill everybody. Okay. That's a really cool sci-fi plot. Yeah, and they have like superhero powers, and now we have a story. Yeah. But with them, they have another clone of the scientist, which Aloy is a clone of the scientist, and her name's Beta or whatever. And she runs away from them, and she's got like PTSD. And for some reason, Aloy is a complete jerk to this girl. She's younger, and she treats her really mean. And it's like this weird, like she's jealous of her or something, but they're not delving into it. And it's just like, I am already like not sure I like Aloy. She's being really mean to this girl that clearly has PTSD, and that just makes me like her less. She just comes across as jealous, frustrated with everybody, like she's got no time for anybody. Yeah. And I think that what they're trying to do with this plot is like teach her how to make time for people. I don't know if that's the plot. She doesn't have time for people. She's trying to save the world. Like, it's just a weird plot in terms of the character stuff. And I'm going to finish it because I'm about 2 or 3 missions from the end. But man, I wasn't hyped. I'm disappointed in the direction Guerrilla went with this. I think that they missed the boat. They missed the boat on making the sequel a real sequel.
Yeah, I almost want to play it again when they port it to PC, like they've been doing their other games, and see if I can't remove those first 6 hours and just play the open world. That'd be cool.
I think that sucks to show a setting like the beach. I played for 23 hours. I've never gotten to that beach.
That's crazy.
I don't know when you get there. I've got 3 missions left.
I was dying to get to I did get underwater in the water. I wanted to get into that out in the beach area and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. I was really wanting to play that, but it's like what happened. It happened last night. I hit a moment when I got to the town where you show up and they're like, "Oh, it's the savior of Meridian. Let's let her in." And you meet the person for the first thing. And I paused it and they're talking and you're having a conversation. And I was just like, I don't know who anybody is. I have no drive. I'm at 0% battery at this game with these characters and whatever else. And then I knew that what you said, but I could have found it elsewhere, that it takes a while to get to the open world. But on top of that, there was issues with the HDR. So what happened with me was when you turn the camera or move, there's pop-in. So when you're just standing still, it's saturated. And then when you move the camera or move Aloy, the colors go back to normal, and then when you stop, they saturate. But when you go to performance mode, the resolution drops, and I didn't think it looked good on my TV, but the colors were normal. And then there was audio issues. So all of that on top of everything that you said and I said, I was like, I can't do it.
There were audio issues.
So I was like, I just did this for my birthday, and I'm not enjoying this. So it's like I have to recoup my money. So I was like, I want to put it on Marketplace, or I'm gonna get $60, whatever. But then I thought, can I just return a game that I've already opened to Amazon? So I went on there and I was like, I want to return this game, and it said, have you taken it out of the shrink wrap? And I was like, I'm gonna say yeah, I did. Will they do it? Yes. And they were like, okay. Take it to UPS. Just bring them this code. You don't even need to put it in a package or anything. You go there and just show them the code. So I had an opened game I returned, and I got my full $75 after tax back.
That's awesome. That's
so
top
I was
tier.
That happened. I was like, boom. And then I was kind of pissed again because Elden Ring was going to be delayed till tomorrow. We're filming this on the Friday it came out, Elden Ring. But I was like, crap, they're delaying another freaking game. It came today. They delivered early. So Bezos, thank you.
2 final thoughts, just little nuggets. This game does have amazing looking character models and NPCs.
Yes. The animations and stuff were perfect.
They look dude, they crushed that.
They killed that, yeah.
And the other thing I was gonna say, I
did like the music. I like the theme song.
The music's good. Well, they have a lot of new kind of cool, more mechanical kind of music that mixes in.
Pretty cool.
So that all is really, really good.
But get Naughty Dog to make your story or something.
Yeah, there was something else positive because there were things I liked about it, but I can't remember the other positive thing at the moment. It was just that the face. Oh, here's what it was. Jacob, you said it looks just like Horizon 1. I thought the same thing. Yeah. I spent some time this weekend looking back at side-by-side comparisons. I can't explain it. This game looks so much better than Horizon 1. If you go back and you look at Horizon 1, after playing this game for 20 hours, I went back and watched gameplay, and I was like, this looks like a PS3 game. Horizon 1 looks very dated compared to this game now that I played it. But when I just looked at them before I played, I was like, yeah, they look pretty similar. I can't explain it, but when you do spend a lot of time with this game, I don't want anybody to think that they didn't put a lot of effort. This is graphically ridiculously better than the last one.
Yeah.
So.
But that was Horizon. Bummer, but I'm glad that you're in a good part with it. But
yeah,
I hit the eject seat.
I just can't believe they didn't rework that melee combat. I mean, that felt terrible in 2017.
Yeah.
I thought for sure they were going to fix it. It feels the same.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Developers, man.
Also, at that beginning part, I was screaming because I couldn't. We kind of learned this too when games would highlight the ledges you can climb on, and the ledges in the jungle part at the beginning are yellow, but they're faded yellow. And I was running around. I didn't know where to go. And I was like, this is just poorly designed. Like, I think that was another thing that set me off. I was like, this is just not well designed right here.
I was so lost at the beginning. It
lost.
felt like a PS3 game. It really did.
I was not having a good time, but good face, good music.
Not worth $60.
Good later
$70.
part. Good later part, but.
Call me when it's 5.
What should I use the money for? I was gonna get Gran Turismo. I think I'm gonna wait a couple weeks to see what the frick these games are before you drop $70 on them. So
I think that's honestly smart. I think sometimes
I want to play Gran Turismo, but we'll see.
I'm telling you, no game right now is ever worth $60 or $70. Not a single game.
I mean,
so then I bought the other $70 game, $70, or was it 60?
No more.
Elden Ring is 60.
Not worth it.
Bought a $60 game, Elden Ring, but you have not played it yet, Travis.
Have not played 1 second of it. I'm excited to dive in though.
Okay, I'll play it an hour. I'm just gonna talk real quick. I won't spoil anything, but I really don't have too much to say. I think next time I'll have more to say. But I mean, you've seen like some gameplay stuff, you know, about like there's a horse. You know,
there's a horse. Yeah, basic gameplay elements. I don't really know the intro, but yeah.
I just got to where I got that, and that's pretty fun.
Nice.
I think that can turn in like that can change the gameplay up a little bit. But I'm more looking forward to where I'm like at now. I'm like I want to like get some co-op people going in this. Like I'm kind of hungry for that and get into some co-op stuff. So, but yeah, there's not much to say actually.
There is. I mean, just
without spoiling. I don't want to like spoil. Whatever.
When you've only played an hour, we'll have a full report. I'm sure by the next time we have a podcast on all that. So,
but that's Elden Ring. I think that's it for video games.
Oh, it is? I'm just joking.
One question I have about Elden Ring, would you say it's kind of like Breath of the Wild in terms of there's multiple directions to go from the start?
Yeah, so I went into, like, I found this just random cave, and I went down in there, and I didn't know what to expect. Like, I don't know what things are going to be down there, what enemies, and whatever. I go down, and it's very tiny, and I just go down, and there's a boss. There's a boss down in this little cave, and like, and I fight this thing, and I die, and I come back, and it's like, okay, I think I can figure this out. Killed the boss, and I'm like, is there just going to be little hidden places I find, and I can just go over here and do all this stuff? But, yeah, I'm looking forward to how this changes up, like, the soul stuff, and if it, like, benefits from it. And now that I've got the horse, because at first I was actually getting kind of, I complained on the game Banjo-Tooie a lot. Banjo-Tooie versus Banjo-Kazooie, because Banjo-Tooie, they're like, look how big we make the levels, but they're, like, sparse and empty. And I kind of felt that already in Elden Ring. But now that I got this mount, I'm like, okay, they want you to be on this mount, because once I got that, then it like shrinks the time to get the place to place. So
that makes sense.
I think that's what they're really wanting you to do a lot to get to traverse and find these different places. So
yeah, I'm gonna. Just...
But it feels like the Breath of the Wild, like you were talking about, because I think you can like go and I'm looking out. I'm like, I could really go over there and check that out and start Breath of the Wild my way through this. I'm just gonna follow this path and see what looks interesting, and I'll head over there and see if I can beat it or not.
I've got a couple of reviewers I like to follow that write not just about like nuts and bolts stuff, but really how like games make them feel, and the one talked a lot about how this game is the openness helps the Dark Souls gameplay in that normally in a Dark Souls game, you have one or two options of what you could be doing at a given time. And if you're stuck, you're like really stuck. Like you have to figure out how to get past that boss. And they said this one's going to be more accessible because if you're really stuck, there are a million other places you can go at any given time and you will find something you can do.
Yeah.
And so they said it's
like The Witness.
Yeah, it's kind of like The Witness, probably. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm excited to just soak that one up. Cool.
And then we will do a hangout for it, definitely. We'll definitely have a hangout for it.
Nice.
TV. You've been watching TV. You want to talk about TV, but you said we're in a bad place with TV, Jacob.
No, but anime is good. I'm talking maybe more live action.
Okay.
Attack on Titans is amazing. Travis, you get this going yet? What's your vision here?
No, but I probably can soon because I just finished The Leftovers.
And I'm sure we'll got to get a report for that here in a second.
Be,
yeah.
Stay tuned for that.
But Attack on Titans is everything. I think it's honestly probably one of the best pieces of anime ever made at this point.
It's now my third favorite anime of all time.
I don't think there's anything that's better. Like I just can't think of anything that's better. But I think we only have 2 episodes left, 3 episodes left. Zach?
2, I think. I think 2.
I think it's 2. Crazy to think about. Are you caught up all the way?
Yeah. Yeah. I watched this most recent one, but without spoiling stuff for Travis or anybody watching. Every episode this season, I feel like last season was the same thing. It's still the same season when we're on the second part of it. Yeah. But every episode they drop a bomb on you, like, oh, this character's back. Oh my gosh. Or this event happens. Oh my gosh. Like every episode has been something big. But yeah, it has that elements that I liked from Game of Thrones of like years of waiting for certain things to happen or getting to see these different things. But this show took a hard turn in this season. Hard turn.
Did you read the manga? You didn't read the manga, did you?
I didn't read the manga.
Dude.
I'll tell you what. It takes a hard turn, and the events that are happening are like, whoa, we're having to deal with this now. Like,
have you double watched episodes to make sure you understand, or are you do you feel like you're following really well?
There's some stuff I'm lost on that has been years ago, but the general arc of what's going on, I'm getting. Like, I'm
okay
stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the stuff's happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, this show took a turn. So, yeah,
okay,
it's one of the best.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving Attack on Titan, and then I just think it's just one of those things where it's like we're experiencing this what it should be. It's going to be everything that we want, and it's probably again best ending. It's going to be the best ending, best anime of all time.
I'm convinced of it. English or Japanese?
I watch it in Japanese because the English hasn't dropped for the second part of the fourth act. But I will say this: the dub is all the way caught up except for the second half of the act. So if you wanted,
Zach,
do what?
What are you watching it in? Are you watching?
I'm watching it subbed.
Okay,
I'm watching it subbed.
Okay.
Because the same reason, it's not out. If it was all out in English, I probably would have checked out that and whatever. It's probably fine. But yeah, like you said, you can get seasons 1 through 3 or season 1 through 4, part 1.
Okay.
I will say this: you should also be checking out Demon Slayer. You have not yet.
I've heard of Demon Slayer. I think Devin has mentioned Demon Slayer. So
yeah,
I think
Demon Slayer, top tier. I think the animation quality is really good. Wicked sad beginning, in my opinion. I haven't been that like depressed on an opener in a long time. Wow. But I'm enjoying it. I'm only on the 4th episode right now. But it's apparently it won like anime of the year, I think, at the like anime awards or whatever. So like,
yeah, I've been hearing too much about it. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yep,
I gotta check it out.
You have to check that one out. You're gonna have to have that one on your radar. But that's all the anime I've been watching. I'm curious to hear about Travis's leftover report.
Here's the thing. I think we should talk about our 2 things, movie stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I think we should end with the freaking leftovers discussion.
Yeah, it's time to end the bed.
2 years in the freaking making. Let's end with that.
We can do that. Hold on.
What?
Well, never mind. I don't have much to say about the other thing. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Jeen-Yuhs. A Genius came out on Netflix. This is the Kanye West documentary that the person that has compiled this footage has been filming Kanye West for 17 years. It is 17 years worth of footage that was compiled together to make this documentary.
This kind of stuff.
This is awesome. Travis, you need to watch this yesterday because, well, I think anybody, because the pop culture like consensus knows who Kanye West is. He's become this kind of cultural god in the music scene and all this other stuff. To see early footage of him, it is like the hero's journey. It is like the beginning of Star Wars to the Return of the Jedi kind of level of things that you'll see. Because you get to see him, like it's the premise of the whole entire documentary is this guy that's filming it, Cootie, I think is his name. He was a comedian in Chicago, where Kanye is from. And what he started to do, he was like, oh, I started doing like public access. I wanted a show about the local scene with rappers and comedy acts, all this other stuff, and like make this show public access in Chicago. He meets Kanye because Kanye's part of this rap group or whatever. He's like low key. The moment he meets Kanye, like he met him in like 95, 98. He said, I am gonna drop. He drops everything. He drops everything he's doing, like comedy, whatever. I'm just going to film this man because the moment he met Kanye, he was like, I know this guy's going to be huge, so I need to drop. So he dropped everything in his life to film.
How did we
Kanye.
never hear about this until now?
Yeah, it's crazy. So this guy dropped everything in his life to follow Kanye West, this no-name rapper in Chicago, because the way he rapped and the way he had it like carried himself, he's like, this guy is going to be a massive hit.
Wow.
So he does that, and a year into like filming this guy in Chicago, he moves to New York. Kanye does. So what does this guy do? He uproots his life and moves to New York to continue filming Kanye West. And I'm on the second episode just came out, and I'm like halfway through the second episode, but it is crazy to see because he's working on his album. But what happens is Kanye's amazing at producing beats. So much so that Jay-Z uses his beats in one of his albums, and that's how he gains a ton of notoriety. People know who he is through the beats he makes. But he also like has a heart to like make this album and wants to rap and stuff. But everyone he talks to, he's like, "Yeah, I got to get you on the album. Like, you got to make my beats." And he's like, "No, I want to like rap." And he's like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome, man." But you can tell like in the documentary footage this guy has got, you get to see in real time, no one takes him seriously. No one around him. And it's so awkward at times, like filming, and everybody's like, yeah, like, this guy, he makes the best beats. He's on Jay-Z. Love Kanye. But Kanye is like pissed off, and he's going, I am a rapper. Like, I'm making beats, but I'm also want to be bigger than that. Like, I don't want to be the beats guy. So I'll just tell about one scene in it that was really crazy. He made one of the songs that's on ends up on his debut album, and he wants to get signed with Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z. He wants them to sign, so he's like trying to court them, but nobody wants to listen to him at all. Nobody cares. So he's like, so the person doing the documentary that did all the footage voices over and narrates certain parts to tell you like what's going on, and he's like, so what did we do? We just hit up Rockefeller Records, and we just went in there one day and bum rushed them. So they just go in there. They know who Kanye is or whatever, but he just shows up. But he goes to their marketer. Like, it's just this woman sitting with a headset, and that's the marketer. He opens the office. He walks into the CD player thing, opens up the CD, and puts his like like burnt CD in there, and he raps to this woman. Yeah. Like he has that's just the backing track.
I saw this on Twitter. I saw just this part.
Yes, yeah. And he raps to her, and she's just watching him.
She's just like staring
at him.
She's like awkwardly like, can I go back to work?
And then takes the CD, goes to the other marketer woman. But what's crazy is he's playing this like he's doing the rap live to this woman. Whatever. While he's doing that, he's like on the phone, or somebody comes in and she's talking over, like he's rapping and he's doing this, and she's like on the phone and checking stuff. And you're watching this going like, Kanye West is being treated like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, who are you? But as all this stuff is happening, you're just seeing his soul. Like, he's pouring out his soul everywhere he goes. He's rapping, he's doing all this stuff. And like, then you get to see what the documentarian or whatever saw from that first moment he met him. Is like, this guy's not giving up. Like, he's like, you're going to listen to this guy no matter what, and he's going to be big. Yeah. That was the energy that Kanye was giving off. So, amazing, incredible. I just got over the episode. He got in a really bad car accident. Like, he almost died. And he made the song. Have you ever heard the song Through the Wire from Kanye West?
You showed me that.
Yeah, he made that, and he sung it and rapped through it with the freaking wire in his mouth. Like, he had a thing like keeping his jaw together.
Wow.
Jeez.
Incredible documentary. Must see. Amazing.
I'll watch that. Cool. That's right down my alley.
I have been watching, and I'm almost done with Straight Outta Compton, a movie based on the NWA. What kind of sparked this was the halftime show this year.
Yeah,
watching the halftime show, I was like, man, like I grew up on these guys and I listened to these guys a lot, and
yeah.
I went back and I wanted to watch the movie, and it's always one of those things where I think like that era of rap really did help like transform not only how generations have seen that genre of rap, but also just transformed, I think, culture a little bit. Because we talk about the idea of like people getting out of the hood, like that was the thing. Like I don't think of America now where like, you know, how do I put this? I'm not gonna put this in a way. I don't think of like hoods all the time anymore. You know what I mean? Like, do you guys think of like the hood, that concept at all? Do you guys ever?
I know what you mean. Like I used to hear it more back.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
I'm not saying that doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's still more
a thing. But I feel like for them, and especially like Dr. Dre in general, like his goal, you know, he wanted to do things on such a bigger scale, not only for just his family, not only for his friends, but also just to prove that like rap wasn't like this one track mind thing, that it can evolve and it can change over time, and you know, they rapped about the same things over and over again. But I do think it's like one of those paving the road type of mentalities. Yeah. Like that's the kind of thing I think when I watch this movie, I'm like, this right here, it paved the road for like people like Kanye. It paved the road for people like Eminem and, you know, all these other rappers who we hear from today. It started back with really, I mean, let's give some credit to Dr. Dre. Like, he made a huge deal, made a huge impact. So, I'm finishing.
So, what is this movie about? Is this about the beginning of that? Is it like
basically about Dr. Dre, Ice Cube?
Is it a documentary or is it like is it a live action?
It's like a retelling. It's like a telling of their life growing up, what he had to go through and what he did and different things like that. So cool. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out.
I think it got some Oscar buzz the year it came out.
It was Ice Cube's son played Ice Cube and he killed it.
Oh, nice!
Did a great job. So it was really good. I would highly recommend it.
Cool.
So
shall we get to something we've waited almost 2 years, year and a half ish, for the Leftovers review from Travis? I am very excited.
For a while now.
I'm excited. The floor is yours.
You know, I finished The Leftovers, finished the 3rd season and the 2nd season and the 1st season. I'll share my thoughts and then we can do a Q&A. That might be the best way to handle this.
Okay, I'll pass the mic if anybody wants to. After he finishes.
I think I've talked about the first 2 seasons before. Season 3, you know, my feelings on the first season was it was really not clicking for me, but I liked the last couple episodes. Season 2, I liked it. Then it went really into weird places I just didn't really vibe with, and then it came home pretty good. So season 3 kicks off, and they do what I call a Leftovers reset, which they like to do at the start of their seasons. And, you know, the 2nd season ends with the cult and the daughters of some of the families, like, living in the town. And I was like, okay, this is a pretty cool setup for a new season. You got the cult, you got these daughters. But in the first episode, first scene, basically, after, like, an intro, they blow the cult up with a drone. And then it skips forward 3 years in time. And so, the first episode, I think, of season 3 might have been my favorite of the season. Probably my second favorite. I liked how I overall don't know, you know, that I love it. Just every season of this show feels disjointed from one another. It's the only way I know how to describe it. Like it does not feel like a show that builds upon itself. It feels like a show that's stapled together. And whether they didn't have the time they needed to do the story they wanted to do, whatever, it just feels stapled together. But I really like that first episode. There's this time jump. They're living in the town. Kevin's a cop again, but he's he's dealing with, the 7th anniversary of this stuff that happened is coming up. And of course, all the Christians in the town are like, this is like the end of the rapture period and whatever. Matt's going crazy. The pastor guy's going crazy, which you'd expect. And I'd like that vibe of there's something weird going on. There's something bad coming.
Yeah.
The guy that shot dogs comes to the town and he's pulling out his sandwich and saying that dogs are, he hears dogs. And I really was liking that. I was okay. They're bringing it full circle. We're here in this town. They're going to bring this whole thing. And I started getting a bad, and then they had this side plot of Nora, and she lost the adoptive daughter she had, and she's talking to these weird cult people that can send you maybe to this other place. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then they just take another one of those turns that they take, and we're going to Australia, and we've got a whole episode where we're following Kevin's dad, who we haven't seen in 2 seasons, and he's on some mission, because he says the rain is coming. And here's the thing, there's no tension because I know he's crazy, and it's like, okay, the rain's coming, whatever. Like, I just didn't. It was a slog. It was a slog. There were funny moments. Christopher Sunday, he goes and he meets this guy, and then he falls off his roof and kills him. It made me laugh. Like, I was like, oh, God, he killed this guy. Yeah. But like, they just build these, like, Christopher Sunday is going to teach the song to stop the rain, but I don't even believe there's rain coming. I know he believes it, but like, he'll call Matt, the pastor, and Matt doesn't believe the rain's coming. So they build this up, and they build up. Matt wants to go to Australia to go get Kevin, and it just, everybody in this show that's not Kevin and Nora are doing something, and it's not believable at all, but they're building these moments up like I'm supposed to be concerned that something bad is going to happen. It just rang hollow for me on a lot of it. I really liked Kevin, his character when he was in episodes, but there were long stretches he wasn't in it. I liked the episode of him and Nora arguing in the hotel in Australia, and they really come to a clash of, like, she's not over her kids being gone. He is kind of like, she's frustrated because, like, I loved where they wrote like a book of the Bible of his life. I thought that was awesome.
When he fights the guy in the church, when he finds that out, and he
I love that.
So
that's the kind of stuff I want out of a season 3. It's like, people, like, it's all coming to a head, but they just, like, they brought us to Australia, which was okay, and then, like, we're supposed to feel for this lady who, like, kills this cop, and it's just like, it just was very messy. And it was, my wife and I, we just kind of debriefed, and like, I just was like, well, what'd you think of that? She's like, it's just like, there's just a lot happening, and it feels very unfocused. And that is my ultimate kind of feeling on the show. I liked parts of it. There was an interesting episode where they're on a boat, and there's like a cult. And there's a guy his name's God, and he kills somebody. It has this very, like, hyper realistic kind of, like, tone, to it. A lot of the show does, but especially that episode where it's like, it feels like you're almost in a dream of, like, what is happening.
The show and that's why I think that's where I think there's issues with you. The stuff that you might like or what you gel with the most.
Before you even say what you're going to say, because I know what you're going to say, I love David Lynch. Things don't.
No,
have
I'm not
to
even
be
saying.
literal.
I'm not even really.
Things don't have to be literal storytelling for me to like them. They have to be narratively and thematically cohesive. And I feel like one minute we're having like a weird, like, spiritual moment. Then the next moment there's like people making poop jokes, and then the next moment some guys, dancing in a valley dressed up in a headdress, and then the next moment, like, it just felt.
And that's where I think the show does really good, because and the best is that episode with that stuff. I think it comes to crescendo kind of in that episode with the sex cult lion thing, because what happens, like, I'm God, and it's like, what are you talking about? You're not God. And he gets really mad at him, and he faces him, and all this stuff happens. But it really is like, Matt at that point is talking to him like he's talking to God. He almost uses that guy as, like, his frustrations that he's had the entire show with God and his faith. And he's talking to this random guy in this sex cult thing on a cruise ship. What the frick are we even doing? And then the next second, like, and then the episode ends where, like, the tiger gets out or all this stuff, and they kind of, like, poop on it the next second. because like the show also battles with like they don't want everything to be a neat bow because Faith is not a neat bow. You can't like tie it up and like Matt can't just have his conclusion and the credits roll and whatever. It has to be like he is battling that, and Faith is kind of this weird rope like you can't grasp onto, and we're in this weird thing. And I think the show like symbolizes that and personifies that brilliantly. Of like it's just beautiful. Some of the stuff in the show.
But like where's Jill? She's just gone. Like Tommy disappears after the second episode, and it's just messy narratively. I'm not talking about like solutions. I love Lost. I'm not looking for answers.
Yeah.
I'm looking for character arcs. Like, what is Kevin's dad's character arc?
I think that
I don't freaking know what.
I think the show
is a mess
because of how shorter and it's very focused. I will agree on that. Like, Lost has way better character development. They have way more episodes to focus on all these different characters. I think that they bounce between the pastor and Nora and whatever, and you get whatever. Like, those are the main, I think, three. Those are like the trinity of this show of like who you get really deep into.
Mm-hmm.
But I think number one that rises above that is Kevin's story. And Kevin in season 1, this is where I disagree with you a little bit, is like it is a progression from you get a Jack Shepherd, if we're going on Lost comparisons, all the way to a John Locke in season 3, where Kevin is like does not see any of this faith stuff. He does not want any part of it. He doesn't see like the event that happened, or I forgot what is it called in the show, the thing, the rapture thing.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, what's the official name?
I don't remember the name of it, but
whatever. But he just does not care like the rest of them. And by the end of season 3, he is going to Australia. He is doing these crazy things out of faith to figure out what this is and what faith looks like. That's his development. Is he turns kind of in John Locke, and he wants to go there and see his dad. Like he believes his dad finally. He wants to, instead of wants to punch him in the face, like he's opening himself up to faith and figuring out what he actually believes and like what's going on with the world. So,
I don't disagree with you on some things, Travis. Like, but I think my biggest thing with the show was that the show was so unfocused that it made it so chaotic, and I love it. Where the sense of like, you're right, I didn't understand, like, why did characters just disappear? We just spent 2 seasons getting to know about these guys, and now they're just gone. Yeah, that sucks, but the whole world disappeared. Who cares? I'm past it. I want to know what's going on with this baby. I want to know what's going on with not Nora. No, is it Nora? Dang it, I'm having flashbacks. What's going on with these other people? Like, the pastor. I love the pastor. He's an absolute nut job. And I love it. Like, I don't know why. I like the chaos of it. I don't think it's like, I think Lost is better. If you asked me that question today, I was like, Lost is way better than the show. But I definitely don't think there's as big as plot holes as maybe you make it out to seem, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not really about plot holes. There's holes in everything. It's like you could poke holes in anything. To me, I just fundamentally it just didn't work, like on most levels. I really liked Kevin. I liked Nora. I liked the finale. I liked their final conversation.
I love that ending. That ending is beautiful.
I just kind of felt like maybe spend some more time like on their stories. I don't know. Like Nora's like, yeah, and I went to this place and I saw all these things, and I was like, okay, like, thanks for catching me up, show. Like, I could have used some more of that instead of whatever the hell Kevin's dad was doing, running around in the wilderness. Like what was like? Kevin even said it. Like they said, "Do you believe that you're helping them?" When they were like, he's like, "No." He's like, "I don't believe him. Like, I don't believe John. I don't believe my dad. I don't believe any of them." So like, I get he was trying to find faith, but he kind of wasn't. He kind of was just at the end of this show. He's trying to help John talk to Evie because John's not over Evie. He's trying to help his dad get a song from Christopher Sunday.
Yeah,
and there is no song. And we know there's no song because he told us there's no song. But like, I don't like really care if they get the song. Like it just, I thought it was cool. I don't know. It was just, it it was just I liked the pieces I liked. It's not about plot holes. It's about if I'm going to sit down and spend 30 hours with something, I want to feel like, oh, like I understand the arc of like not the answers, but like this really was.
Did you feel at any time
this was intentionally crafted beginning to end?
Any time with this show, did you ever feel this is the way that the show deeply affected me? The show deeply affected me at its core that you got to watch people struggle with faith.
I actually didn't get that one time the entire time.
Really?
Okay, now see that's where
not at
okay.
all.
So
and I think that makes sense if that's where the way I just that did not zero.
Wow.
None. Zero.
So
and like I watched it. I took it as it was.
Yeah.
I would say when the pastor talked to the God character, yeah. But like I never saw Jill struggling with faith. She was pissed off that her mom left, and then she was pissed off that her dad was being a jerk and flirting with her friend, and she was pissed off that Michael, the kid, wouldn't have sex with her, and then she left. Tommy wasn't struggling with faith really after the Holy Wayne stuff. He just worked with his mom on exploiting people and wanted to sleep more with Liv Tyler. Honestly, the pastor, he struggles with faith, but his whole identity's wrapped up in it, and he really annoyed me, like a lot of the show, like a whole lot of the show. He bothered me a lot. John was rejecting faith, and then there's a 3-year time gap, and now he's fully into faith, and he's kind of a lesser character for it, and you never really get to explore how it's changed him. He just wears glasses now. Like he was
affected. He like saw Kevin come back to life.
He did.
That changed his character. That changed his character.
It did change his character, but like he just that's not as much as how I took it, and that makes sense that if that is how it affected you, to me it felt very all over the place, over the place. So
I think the initial plot of the show, and tell me why you track with me, is all these people are trying to do life now that half the world is gone, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. So the concept of faith, I think, is intertwined through everything because it makes me have to ask the question, well, what would be like out of the realm of possibility for me if half the people in the world disappeared? Like, what would be the things I would do, and what would be the things I wouldn't do? Like that show kind of helped me understand that a little bit better because it's like, would I have done some of the stuff Kevin did? Would I have been that kind of crazy? I mean, because at that point, if half the world's missing, you're like, what's off the table? Yeah. What is off the table in your mind?
What do you mean specifically by that? Like something he did? What do you like when he shot dogs?
Yeah, like I mean, he killed the dogs, but like let's go with like completely like turning up and going and marrying someone else, grabbing a baby off the street, like caring about going to another community that's completely locked up. Like all of the stuff he's doing, he has no reason why. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know why he's doing it.
I didn't take that as faith stuff at all. I took that as Kevin is extremely emotionally damaged about the way his marriage ended, and he needs community. He needs connection. And Nora is extremely damaged from her children being gone. She needs community. And they were both very broken people, but they had chemistry and they developed a trust and they formed a community together. And that formed family dynamic of Kevin and Nora with Jill and with where they get the baby. And then at the end of season 2, start of season 3, and then like Lori's living with them there at the end and Tommy's back. Like, I live for that kind of found family, take the messiness and make a family out of it.
Yeah.
If the whole show was focused on that and still keep the dying and going to the world of the dead, that would be awesome. But this show has the Arrested Development season 4 problem of these characters are at their strongest when they're all together playing off of each other. And instead they take them and they pull them away from the group almost every episode and show them in isolation in a bunch of random weird scenarios. That's just how I feel. Like, to me, this was a show much more about finding your place in community and finding people and learning how to talk about your issues together. But that's the show I wanted, and they spent maybe 20% of their time doing that, and they spent far more of their time watching the pastor like run around in the gutter. Like, or watching Kevin's dad run around by himself, or watching, it just felt like the stuff I was more drawn to, they did not emphasize, which is fine. That's their show. They can make it. But to me, like, that was what I found more interesting, because I think about that a lot. If I was a refugee or it was after the end of the world, how would I relate to the people that are in my family and my friends? How would we try to stick together? How would we try to make that work? And this show had glimpses of that, but like, they leave it in the dust because they can't wait to get to the next. Who's the random character that's going to come in this episode, and they're going to sit in this random house and talk for an hour, and then we'll never see them again. Like, with a show where you got 10 episodes a season, I feel like...
Would I abandon everything because I've lost everything before?
What do you mean by that?
So, like, yeah, if someone new came in my life, would I just ditch that community I guess got used to having? Because why would I open myself up for a new community when everyone's disappeared once already?
Yes. Yeah. No, that was what I loved about when Nora and Kevin
that was
moved
Nora. Yeah,
to Miracle. Nora. I love that she wanted to move there because it was secure, because no one disappeared. I think Nora is the heart and soul of this show. And Kevin, I love his personality and his disposition, and he is so good in that role. Yeah. I feel the same way about him as I do in Rey in The Force Awakens. Perfect in that role. I don't get the character arc. It did not work for me. I think he is like, what's his name? I don't remember his name, the actor that played Kevin. I've never seen him in anything before. I know he's a big actor. I was like wanting to look up what else is he in, because I'd love to see him in other things. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was great in that. Yeah. So to me, I get that. That makes perfect sense. My goal is not to like disparage, like, it just, for me, it just kind of was a little all over the place, but
Gotcha.
Okay. I'm glad I watched it. I mean, it was definitely something different. But yeah.
Travis, at the end of the day, this is what I want you to do. I want you to just be a man of your word. I'm glad you were able to do that, because I was starting to worry about you.
I did. Now,
now,
Jacob, did you watch Friday Night Lights?
Well, wait. You know what?
Breaks. I'm in the breaks.
Okay.
Can we talk for a second about the ending? Because
I would like to.
This is one of my favorite endings of a show, because I like the style of ending, because you can fight about it. Because me and my wife are on different ends of the spectrum about what happened with the show.
I don't even understand how this is an argument. Okay? This is like the only thing I feel like they got right. So this is the only thing I think they got right. So Nora, her issue was she lost somebody or some buddies that were ultimately so important to her. Yes. And no one else around her believed that they were coming back, but she believed they could. Or she wasn't at peace with it.
Yes.
And Kevin had seen and experienced things, and was seeing and experiencing things that made him certified an insane person.
Yes.
And so they both had that issue, and that's why they fought in the hotel room. That was why they could not make it work and just put it all to the side, because they both had those things nagging at their personhood. Yes. So what I like about the ending is with her, with Nora going to the other world, which she explains she did.
You think she did?
Just let me explain. By her going and experiencing that, she now knows what it's like to see things that nobody will believe, and that's why she has now ostracized herself from the world and is in hiding. Yeah. Whereas Kevin has now lived for 20 years or whatever. Everybody's telling him, dude, Nora's gone. But he knows she's still out there. They both got to experience what the other person had struggled with, and it helped them reunite and be like, I get what you've been through, you get what I've been through. To me, that's like a good ending. That's honestly, I liked the ending. When it ended, I was like, I liked that ending. So to me, like, it was so, like, it worked so well. I didn't think there was any concept of a debate of whether or not she left. So when I saw that afterwards, I was like, this is stupid. There's no debate. Like,
I think there is. I think there's a really cool debate. So my wife thinks she did not go. She thinks that because the show, if you remember, shows a split second where they're like, hey, you can stop. You don't have to do this. You don't actually have to do this. And I think it shows a split second where, like, you don't know if she actually tells them to stop. And you also get to see when she's going up to the thing, where the little pod is at, it's coming out, and there's like the show is almost hinting or playing with you of like, are people just being vaporized?
Yeah.
Does this technology actually exist? In the show, that's kind of like a little push on you of like, do you have faith as the viewer that this thing's going to work? Are you actually think this crazy mechanic thing is going to work?
I thought it was an elaborate way to commit suicide. That's what I thought it was.
Yes.
And so this whole time it's building up to her going. It was like 30 minutes of buildup, and I was just like, she's going to kill herself. Like, I didn't believe it was real.
Yeah. So then when it gets there, or at the end, and they have that very long dialogue at the end, and she tells what she saw, where like my wife is and other people are at, is she didn't go, she got like that thing was going to kill her. Like, all that does is kill the person. They're just legally killing people and not telling. That's like that's what their whole spiel is, that the organization. So she backed out of that, but she told this story to get over it. Like, that's what she kind of learned and all this stuff through her journey and how she got through life was like, I got to see the people, and she kind of was telling the story almost to herself. This is what my wife says, but I think it's a beautiful interpretation of it, of like, I got to see everybody living there happily. And like, why would I want to be a part of that if I didn't appreciate them here on Earth? And that was a story she told herself. Going back to the whole show of like faith, and is faith just a story we tell ourselves, or how do we like deal with this life and whatever else? So that's like the interpretation like she had, whatever else. I think she did go. I think she did see it, and she did have that interpretation because she saw it of like, oh my gosh, like I did see, these people and all this stuff did happen, and I left. Like, I just love that she actually got to see it too. Well, but I do see the other side, and I'm like, oh, that's, that's a really fun way to look at it too. Like, oh, like,
well, two thoughts. They told her that the liquid that was filling up the tank had uranium and radiation in it. So if she was telling them to stop, she'd be dead of cancer or just disease immediately, because it was radiation infused liquid. So she went somewhere. Like, like anybody can interpret it any way they want, but like that liquid pod she was in, that was liquid uranium that they filled her with.
But was that liquid uranium, or are they just telling you that? Like, why do you believe that?
I mean, that's what they said. I mean, so the second
But they also said they could transport you to this weird world. So it's like, you as the viewer are kind of going through your own faith crisis. Like, why did you believe that machine works by the end of the show? Like, maybe that was just water and just some other fluid.
Yeah, I guess that's a true point. You just take it on her word. I guess the other reason I believe her is Nora's not a liar. That's not in her character. If she's anything, she's the most honest character in the whole damn show. Even when she's upset about the things she's upset about, she wears it on her sleeve and she says like she's upset. If she lied to Kevin and that's the ending of the show, that like betrays her character. I feel like I just to me, like, they've always been so honest with each other to a fault that narratively taints it so much that like that's just whack to me. But I mean, again, I think it's cool that I guess there's it's open to interpretation. Yeah. I was shocked to find, like, me and Jess were like, wow, that was a cool ending. It would have been cool to see that other world, but I get why they didn't, because then you just have to kind of imagine it. When I saw that was something people thought, I was like, what? But I mean, it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I like that ending. I like the goat and like the beads on the goat. But again, like in the ending, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just it's just one of those shows that like I can't compare it to anything else I've ever watched. I don't even know if we're rating it. I don't even know if I'd give it a you can watch it. I genuinely don't know that I would recommend it to anybody. I've had people bring it up that aren't you guys, and we talk about it. I had some people bring it up. Yeah, I didn't like that show. I skipped it. I stopped it. I was talking to a guy that Jess works with. He's Pakistani, and I was like, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, that's a show for sad white people. Don't watch it. Like, and he's Muslim. He's like, that's a show for sad white people. And like, I'm not disparaging. Like, I'm not saying it's not. For me, it just really like didn't click with me.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of people that love it. I get that. There are redeeming qualities to it. And I like that international assassin stuff. I like that the other world where, like, you know, there's just all these weird things going on. And I don't need answers for how all that works. The best part of the show by far is when that guy poisoned him and said he would wake him up, and then he shot himself. And then you go into that. That was
cool.
That was fantastic stuff.
Because that ends and you're like, I gotta watch the next episode.
Yeah,
like,
that stuff was really good.
Yeah.
I just you know, it's not my favorite, but not everything has to be your favorite.
You watched it. I salute you. The saga is over.
Yeah, dude, for real.
What's the next bet? I'm afraid to ask.
Well, Jacob, you didn't have to watch the whole thing. Did you watch the pilot of Friday Night Lights?
Dude, great question, and I have a year to answer it.
Okay. I'm just telling you, you'll really like that show. I mean,
yeah, man.
We're gonna ask every episode if you watch Friday Night Lights pilot. So stay tuned for the next 18 podcast.
Next year. We'll see what happens.
Well, this is the most frustrating aspect of our podcast. Just teasing you for a year and a half.
I love it.
But
I'm sorry it took me so long, but I made it.
I'm glad you arrived.
He made it. But thank you guys for watching, because we have come to the end. Are you going to watch The Leftovers?
I want to know AOI's review.
Yes. AOI, great fan of the channel. He was going to start. I want to see what he was thinking.
I would really like to see his opinion.
Yes.
Because he lives in Europe too, so
yeah,
he'll have a non-American perspective.
Yeah.
There it is.
So we will see. We will see what we see, as they say. But thank you guys for watching. Hey, Hangouts are every Thursday at 7 p.m. We pick a game, play multiplayer. Might get Sea of Thieves. You might get an Elden Ring. You might get a Leftovers live reviewing from beginning to end with Travis. Who knows what we'll do?
Hey, if we get some viewers, I'd rewatch some episodes of The Leftovers with Zach. I'd like to watch it side by side with you.
We'll do a riff tracks.
That would be fun. Hey, at this point, we've hyped it so much. And we've talked so much.
It would just be you groaning. Ugh. And I'd be going, I'm crying right now. I love this part of this show.
That's funny.
But thank you guys for watching. Join us Thursdays at 7. We do this podcast monthly if you're new. And thank you guys for watching. Any last words?
No. Video games need to get better.
Okay. Travis.
More open world games. More battle royales. More Call of Duty Vanguards. Jacob, what else do you not like?
I don't like a lot of things right now, I think.
More Dark Soulses.
Yeah, Dark Souls. That's it. That's where I'm at.
Friday Night Lights.
And Leftovers rules.
There you go.
Good night.